Let's talk about the Catwoman. So this is Jocelyn Wildenstein, and she passed away earlier this week. And she has been a prominent figure in the plastic surgery world for a very long time. So I actually don't know much about her. The only time I really hear about her is when a patient tells me they don't want to look like her. So I decided to do a little bit of a deep dive into who she was. There's some information, but not a ton online. I've never seen photos of her in her youth, and she was absolutely beautiful. So this is Jocelyn when she was quite young. She was born in Switzerland and moved to France when she was in her 20s. And somehow it wasn't clear to me when I was reading online, she ended up spending a lot of time in Africa. One of her acquaintances was a Saudi arms dealer, and that's who actually introduced her to her husband, Alec Wildenstein. And he was a very, very wealthy man from both the art world and also thoroughbred racing horses, apparently. Here is a photo of her early in their marriage, apparently, and they were living in this gigantic Kenyan estate that had over 200 buildings on it. It was just huge. While she was living there, she apparently developed this just deep love for big cats. And that was one of the things people would say with all of her plastic surgery, is that she was trying to look like a lion or a tiger, some type of big cat. This is a photo of her a little bit older. She was age 40 apparently in this photo. And she's given some interviews over the years and discussed her now ex-husband and how he liked his women to look young. And her first cosmetic procedure was a facelift. Her and her husband had his and hers facelifts shortly after they were married. So this is another photo from their marriage, and you can see her face is starting to dramatically change. Certainly not what it was in the end, but she started doing a lot of procedures, and there's just a lot of discussion about why she was doing this. It's really unclear whether it was to please her husband, please herself, or try to look like a feline. So in her marriage, things went south. She caught her husband in bed with another woman, a tale as old as time, and there was some kind of altercation, police were called, and eventually they had a divorce, and it was the biggest divorce ruling ever at the time. She got, this is the late 90s, $2.5 billion from her ex, and $100 million a year or something like that in spousal support for 13 years. Absolutely insane. And then throughout the next couple decades, she just became a prominent socialite and has been, as many of you have seen, all over tabloids with her face ever changing. She's given interviews relatively recently saying that she didn't have plastic surgery, that this is just genetics, and what we're noticing is hairstyle changes. So Jocelyn passed away a couple days ago from a pulmonary embolus at the age of 84. There was some discussion what her actual age was. It's either 79 or 84, but it sounds like she was 84. So she's lived a long and interesting life. So if you follow me, you know that I don't love giving commentary on what people have done to their faces or bodies without being asked, but I do think her whole situation with plastic surgery is quite interesting. She's really the first person in my lifetime that I remember being in the media and being discussed for having very unnatural plastic surgery or very obvious plastic surgery. So like I mentioned before, there's a lot of different theories about why she did this to her face. And I don't think any of us will ever know, but I think it is an interesting ethical thing with plastic surgeons. Where do we draw the line? If a patient wants to do something and in waving a credit card, and it's not dangerous, should we be doing it when we're making someone look so incredibly unnatural and not how people look in real life or in nature? In my experience with people that have extreme plastic surgery or want to have a lot of procedures to have an extremely different looking body, there's a lot of issues with what they think the surgery is going to accomplish. They're not really doing it, in my impression, to achieve an objective goal. They think the surgery is going to make them feel differently, and you really can't do surgery for something subjective. It's an objective thing. I can make a nose smaller. I can make a stomach tighter. I cannot make you feel better about yourself. I cannot make your husband like you more. And I find that people that do repeated surgeries like this, especially even when it's changing your appearance for the worse, are chasing something that surgery just can't give them. So rest in peace, Jocelyn. I hope that you are somewhere fabulous with a face that brings you joy. And if it's big cats you wanted to be near them, I hope you're near them up there as well.